Welcome. On popular demand, here is a brief improvised guide to the poison growth gas explosion build thing I made for Pathfinder. I made it for Pathfinder, but it seems people have used it for Deadeye and Monk as well, and people have reported it works very well. So, brief overview of the skills. For clearing trash, mainly use gas arrow and vine arrow. Can just shoot gas arrow here and there at mobs and they will start to explode and die. And vines will get some extra poison in, it will snare them, and it should also make them explode, which might not work, but I'm still leaving it in because it should, by all accounts of how the skill work, and it is a recommended skill for the vine, so yeah, it should work. But gas arrow, many people ask about how it can just cause its own explosions, and it creates a flammable poisonous gas, and this is mistagged because this also counts as a poison, even if it doesn't have the poison tag, which is weird. But persistence for duration, and then corrosion, which breaks armor, equal to poison damage dealt. So if it wasn't poison, it wouldn't even work, but it does work, and it does trigger all the other poison stuff, so it is a poison skill somehow. Then that triggers armor explosion, which is a fire explosion, which can trigger its own explosion. You just need a bit of ignite, which I pick up in the skill tree near the starting area here. Probably don't need all the nodes, but I have them as a bonus. So just shoot it at mobs, they will die and explode. Throw in vines if you want, throw in rain of arrows if you want some extra utility and CC. So the gas, persistence, corrosion, armor explosion. The vine, bursting plague, comorbidity, to make sure it can provide its poison to create the explosion, which again might very well not work. I have so many explosions it's hard to tell, but if it works, then it has a very not obvious effect. And long shot for extra damage. I want to put this elsewhere when I get 5 or 6 links, so it's temporarily here, and I'm gonna put something else here. Possibly withering touch or so. Long shot will probably go for gas arrow or toxic growth. Rain of arrows, using it purely as a utility skill, can completely ignore it, but it's nice to throw it in on some hard rares, bosses and so on. So I have both maim, pin and encumbrance. If you put envenom on it, it can instead poison. I used that for a while and it worked too. I've been trying pretty much everything. And for single target, which many people seem to struggle with, you can use toxic growth, and poison on it adds explosion damage and radius. And it doesn't say, again, that the gas arrow is a poison skill, but you can use it. So you can want to kill a boss, just stack loads of these up before the boss spawns, either blow it up with your plague bearer, or just shoot one gas arrow in it and keep spamming. This will poison, as you can see, instantly explode all the nodules. Clearly see that it activates them as poison, while a skill like cold skill does not, even if it hits them. I think the cloud just hit those.
I'm not ready.
Maybe it can, if it procs poison chance, trigger them as well. But earlier I tested it when I did not have it, and it absolutely did not touch them. So, auras. I have Plague Bearer. It's both, of course, an aura and an active skill. Use it kind of when it's needed, when there's huge amounts of trash to kill, or as an oh shit button to really kill something quickly. But try to have some toxic growths down before you shoot it, because that will maximum empower them and blow up. So, expands for more area of effect, and the cooldown is no issue because it takes some time to charge up anyway. Magnified effect. This can go elsewhere if you're fine with this, but it's nice to have both because it makes the area enormous. It's basically a whole screen. And then this scales very well with skills, so +1 to chaos skills. And for a long time I used Freezing Salvo as extra burst DPS and like an oh shit button when I got locked in, but I'm finding myself growing out of it now that my gear is proper and I have high evasion. So I still keep it, but I rarely use it anymore. For auras, I have extra spirit on the neck and I've done all the quests. That makes me have 145 spirit, so I can use all of the auras I've found almost. So Plague Bearer with, well, no extra auras. Alchemist Boon is not amazing, it's like the last thing I fit just to have something with precision and vitality. And the priority after Plague Bearer is Wind Dancer, because it's very good once you have some evasion. And Clarity, again, not needed. Cannibalism, very good for sustain. It's one of the better reserve areas, because it gives so much sustain when you are running ahead and blasting stuff. So hopefully that was clear. And if you have mana issues, Toxic Growth is so expensive that it's kind of nice to have Soul Thief in it, then you don't have to worry. But if you want to max damage here and you have mana bleach maybe somewhere else, then you can throw this away and maybe just put it on your normal bow shot with some random stuff. So if you run out of mana, you can still shoot the normal bow shots and leech a bit mana up and keep going. So yeah, that's it for skills. For gear, Poison in PoE 2 works similar to Poison in PoE 1 if you use the hit build, where you actually used attacks such as Cyclone or Scourge Arrow to hit the enemies for damage and then proc the poison. Then you actually needed to have good damage on your weapons to create a strong poison. Many other builds, like Toxic Rain, you just use plus skills, and that doesn't work here. So it's more similar to using a hit build in PoE 1. So you want to have high physical and chaos damage as priority 1, and priority 2 is attack speed and plus skills. And they have changed, so projectile skills is now a suffix. So you can have a fully juiced bow with physical damage, flat physical damage, possibly chaos damage if it exists. I haven't seen it, but it might be possible to force it with some craft. And attack speed and projectile skills. That's the ideal bow. This is just the best I have found so far, and it's not amazing. Gloves. Supposedly there is a pair of unique gloves that causes all elemental damage to be able to poison as well. I haven't seen them, but that might be good, because then you can use one of those chaos base bows and just fill out the damage with elemental damage mods on them, and that should be a very strong bow, but I'm honestly not sure if a pure physical will beat it or not. It's too early to say, but both work. I have used both things and both work just fine. So otherwise, I mean, just fill out stats. Rarity is very good. Just like in Ruthless, you get so few rares, that if you don't have rarity on a few items, you're almost not going to see any rarities for long stretches of time. And otherwise just, life, defenses, resists, same on all armor parts, movement speed thrown in on boots, of course, priority 1. For belt, I like the utility belt best. That makes a part of the heal instant on flasks. And then you can just use a fat, juicy flask with lots of extra recovery. Otherwise, that exists as a mod on flask as well, and is very good. But ideally, so far, I think utility belt is the best one. So on the life flask, I want reduced charge cost, but I haven't found any, and more recovery, or just more recovery on low life. Both of those are very good. For mana flask, more recovery if used while on low mana, and reduced charges. This is the ideal roll, I think. So this will have 10 uses, and you will not need to generate so many charges to fill it up again. And as I'm sure you've noticed, it can sometimes take some time to fill up the flasks in certain cases. So rings, again, you're probably going to need to fill up resists, physical damage, life, standard stuff, chaos damage, stats you need. A bit of mana leech, so not bad. And the resist rings are of course better bases, but this is what I have. I don't have great gear. Ming's Heart is going to probably be the BIS unique. It will give a perfectly rolled one with full quality, will give 48% multiplier roughly. And you do lose a bit of defense, but once you're able to handle it with good gear, it's going to be very, very strong, just like in PoE 1. Amulet. These can roll spirit, so it's very nice to have it on them. Spirit, life, resists the defenses and attributes you need. Nothing special. Helm, already same as all the others. Haven't seen any special mod here. Just want max evasion. Life resists again. Quiver, physical damage and attack speed and damage with bow skills, like I have here, are the 3 best stats, I think. It can also have skills, which should also be in the top tier. And for the rest, just fill up with damage or other nice stats. If you want to be able to detonate the explosions from the gas, it can be good to have a fire quiver, because then you at least have some fire damage you can use to ignite. You don't have to get it in some other gimped spot. So that should be it for the gear. Using a greedy charm here. So hopefully that covers most of the bases. I'm just going to go through some alternative supports. Culling Strike is something I want to fit somewhere, but remains to be seen how many 5 or 6 links I get where it can fit, but it will certainly fit somewhere. There's also another support that synergizes with it, so that might require a 6 or 5 link even for auxiliary skills, but at some point I'll probably use it. Blind can also likely go on some skill, because there simply aren't damage mods for all of them. Not sure which, but possibly the Rain of Arrows again, since it has lots of other utility stuff on it already. Concentrating Effect is what I use on Toxic Growth. For some reason, it does not improve the DPS, according to the tooltip here. But it should work, and I haven't tested if it actually works and it's just a display bug. but it absolutely should work. I mean, it is an area skill, and this is a simple area support. But for now, I also had some mana issues. I'm using Soul Thief, and Concentrated Effect should be for sure if it's a 5-linked or 6-linked. Chaos Infusion for some skill that can have it. Haven't really decided, but it's a candidate at least. Possibly Gas Arrow when it's 5-linked, since it doesn't need so much non-chaos damage. Depends if the fire counts as a separate effect or not, so it's something I will have to try. But if it works, then it will be ideal. It could be it completely disables the fire explosion, and then of course has to go elsewhere. Deadly Poison, it's one of those things that is probably a strong endgame support, since it gives more magnitude of poison. Could also be good for Concoction. I had it on Concoction, I think, when I tried it, but I don't have all the ascendancies done, so I don't have Concoction anymore. Not sure if I want Concoction at all, because it uses Mana Flask charges, so it can run out, but it was an okay skill. It's just a bit redundant with the gas cloud, since the gas already covers having poison up to blow up the toxic groves and so on. But it is a candidate for something. And Herald of Plague, if you're not a Pathfinder and you want to run this build, then you should probably run Herald of Plague, because then you will emulate a similar Pathfinder anyway, since Pathfinder has kind of gimped ascendancies. You have to pick Herald of Plague here. A lesser version of it even. So something they should change. This node is pretty bad. And I'm not sure if it stacks. I mean, if they stack, then maybe it's okay. But yeah, this is the good node. And for ascendancies, could see it going either way. If sustain is going to be a problem, then this will be the best. If movement and snares is ever an issue, then this is an excellent node. And if none of it is needed, slows are no problem, survivability is fine, then you just take 5 points and the movement speed penalty, because that will increase DPS, right? Because you do move fire on the move all the time. So for survivability versus slows, or both of those for just pure DPS. So can go through the skill tree last of all then. Starting with movement speed, because the game is really slow this time around. Movement speed, bunch of evasion. I've stacked a lot of evasion and I'm planning to try acrobatics. I don't quite have enough yet, I think, to use it, but I have hit, so I now have 85-86% idle in town and some other bonuses in actual combat after rolling and so on. So some evasion, some projectile damage. Projectile damage, I've tested it. It works on all the skills. So these are actually decent nodes, I think, as fillers in the end. I took a couple to try because the attack speed is nice. But I did try these and remove them, and they do work on all skills. Yeah, or projectile damage. Path here. I did not go down here in the start, because while you level, it kind of sucks to go too hard on poison, because poison comes to its own later on. So I started with more generic damage. I can use any skill, so I could use the freezing salvo. I used lightning arrow for a while and tried, and decided to stay with poison because it was very nice. All this burstiness with the growths and explosions and so on. So generic stuff. I did did take this since it's close. I took the strength here and the flask charge as bonus because I needed strength and it should be worthwhile. This, as soon as you start using the gas arrow combo, put 2 or 3 points here. And when you do that, you might as well take this for bonus damage. It's a nice damage node, even if you just have one elemental element. So these are required to reliably always explode the gas by itself. Up here, attack damage, blind, very nice. This way, this is very nice early on as well, because the first poison you inflict will have 60% increased effect, which means that all of those nodules you explode should get that buff, and you don't have many poisons in the beginning. You might pop your Plague Bearer. This should buff the Plague Bearer. You might get 1 poison in, and that will be stronger. Then this way, down. Don't have to take this early on unless you feel you need the attack speed, because it is attack speed per dex, and early on this won't give much. So can leave this path this way, take the defensives, and try to always keep a strong evasion body. Then you can carry the rest of your gear while you level with just the chest. Don't worry about resist or anything, just have strong evasion body, you'll be fine. Then you can probably choose, you want to be a bit more tanky, then go down and take more evasion stuff. Take the quiver bonuses once you have a good quiver. But if you have a trash quiver, obviously don't waste points going here. And when you take the movement speed here and the evasion, if it seems good to you, you might as well take this. If you feel that your poisons do any good, just spec them. Same up here. For a long time I took only the left node and not the right one. But as soon as the poisons start, you start spamming them a bit more, maybe using venom on the growths like I do, then it's going to be useful. So you can have more poisons. And finally, the nodes here are very nice. Since we now have limited poison slots, this will be a damage multiplier, not just faster. Damage done. Also very nice. Damage with hits against enemies affected by ailments, which will again cause you to hit harder and proc stronger poisons and so on. After this, I am planning to take these, and since I'm improvising here as I go, I haven't decided after that. So if you want to see what happens, I will update the build in the description. And yeah, I hope that should cover everything. So I stream this pretty much every day now on Twitch and YouTube. So if you want to ask anything, just hop in and say hi. Thank you and good night.